Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Data Playbook. We're now down to our conference games, which is New England at Denver and LA at Seattle, and there are no other updates. Let's get right into New England at Denver. Starting off with your team totals, while I go through the game stats, we have New England favored on the money line with a spread of 3.5 and a total line of 43.5. And then for their seasonal averages, which link up to their team rankings, where you have New England with a scoring rank of 5, a passing rank of 4, and a rushing rank of 6. And then defensively, you have an allowed scoring rank of 3, allowed passing rank of 7, and an allowed rushing rank of 5. For Denver, you have a scoring rank of 13, a passing rank of 13, and a rushing rank of 19. And then for the defense, an allowed scoring rank of 4, allowed passing rank of 13, and allowed rushing rank of 4. Moving into the individual data, and starting with the quarterbacks, you have Drake May, and you have the top defense that he's going against right here, with Riley Moss being the top pass defender, Alex Singleton being the top tackler, and Jonathan Franklin Myers being the sack leader on the Broncos. Here's Drake May averages, and his week-by-week numbers if you need those. And for his turnovers, he has 10 interceptions this season, with 5 fumbles lost due to sacks, and 1 additional rushing fumble. For his rushing share, he gets about 22.4% of the rushing carry share on the team, and about 22% of the rushing yards, making him a pretty large impact on the rushing game. On the Broncos side, you have Jarrett Stidham, because Bo Nix was hurt last game. You really don't have much data for him this season, and right now it looks like he was in for 1 play, which ended up being a carry, probably a kneel or something like that. So we really don't have any data for him this season, but we still have the top defense if you need it here, with Davis being the top pass defender, Spilling being the best tackler, and Williams being the sack leader. So of course, Stidham doesn't really have much share to show, it'd be less than 1%, but just looking at how much of a loss of Bo Nix might hurt them, you have him at 21.5% of the rushing carry share and 20% of the rushing yard share, so he was also a pretty large portion of their rushing game. For New England's running back, you have Ramondre Stevenson, and unfortunately I don't quite have this set up right where I want this to change based on which offensive player I'm looking at, so you just have the same set of players right now if you still need that information. But moving over to his averages now, and looking at his turnovers, he has 2 rushing fumbles this season and 1 receiving fumble. For his share, he has about 30% of the rushing carry share, and also about 30% of the rushing yard share, making him a little bit behind Trayvon Henderson, who was the backup while he was out for a while, so that's why he has some larger numbers here. Also, they split quite a bit, so that's why you'd see larger portions like this combined between the two of them. Same setup here, but instead for your Broncos running back, you have RJ Harvey, with his seasonal averages now flipped over, and his week-by-week numbers if you need those, and his only turnovers are 1 rushing fumble loss. So I'm going to flip over to his charts, so if you need any more of this information, go ahead and pause the video. But looking at his share, he gets about 34.5% of the rushing carry share and 29% of the rushing yard share, and that's mostly because he's still following J.K. Dobbins, who was the starter for most of the season until he got hurt, and so now RJ Harvey has taken over, and that's why it was probably useful to have Bo Nix as a running quarterback here to help fill in for their injured running back. And then moving into the receiving game, starting with the Patriots' number 1 receiver, Stephon Diggs. Moving over for his seasonal averages now, and when no turnovers, I'll go right to his charts again, where he gets about 21.6% of the target share and 22.3% of the receiving yard share, making him the most targeted and most productive receiver on the team. And then your number 2 receiver on New England is Kayshon Boutte, once again switching over to the averages, and his week-by-week information here if you need it, and no turnovers this season. So looking at his share, he gets about 10.5% of the target share, and about 14.5% of the receiving yard share, which puts him a little farther down than some other receivers, especially in his target share. On the Broncos side, the number 1 receiver is Courtland Sutton, and his seasonal averages, and also no turnovers this season. So looking at his share, he gets about 23% of the target share and 26.7% of the receiving yard share, making him by far the most targeted and most productive receiver on the team. And then for your Broncos number 2 receiver, you have Troy Franklin. Moving over to his seasonal averages, and looking at his turnovers, he only has 1 receiving fumble this season. And you have Franklin at his share at about 18% of the target share and about 17.7% of the receiving yard share, which makes him the second most productive receiver in Denver. And then finally for your tight ends, you have Hunter Henry on New England, with his averages here, and his week-by-week numbers, and no turnovers this season. So looking at his share, he gets about 18% of the target share and about 17.5% of the receiving yard share, making him the second most productive receiver in New England. And then for the Broncos, you have Evan Ingram as your tight end, with his seasonal averages and his week-by-week numbers, and no turnovers this season, with his share at 13.6% of the target share and about 11.7% of the receiving yard share. So that concludes all the individual data. Just looking at how the teams stack up one more time, you have New England with a rushing rank of 6 against a pretty good allowed rushing rank of 4 for the Broncos. However, you have a little bit better passing game here from New England at 4 against an allowed passing rank of 13. But even with that, the Broncos are very good at preventing their opponents from scoring with an allowed scoring rank of 4 against New England's pretty good scoring rank of 5. So that makes New England's offense pretty well matched up against Denver's defense, other than just again that passing rank of 4 against that allowed passing rank of 13. For Denver's offense, you have a rushing rank of 19 and a passing rank of 13 going against an allowed rushing rank of 5 and an allowed passing rank of 7. So that's showing that New England has a bit of an advantage here defense against Denver's offense. And what's really big is New England also has a very stingy defense. But what's interesting here is New England also has a very tough defense with an allowed scoring rank of 3 against this scoring rank of 13. Just going based off the numbers, even though I've heard some things about, weaker schedules and stuff, but I can't really see that here right now. It would be interesting if I could do that a little bit more in the future and add some sort of strength of schedule ranking. But for now, just going off of these numbers, I would have to lean towards New England, especially with Denver losing their quarterback. You don't know what to expect from Stenham, and if you can really uphold this 13 passing rank. So with all of that, I think this game leans towards New England. So that wraps up our AFC Conference Championship. I hope that you enjoyed and got something out of it. And if you did, leave a like and subscribe. And leave a comment on what other day you want to see in the future, as I'll be working on it over the off season for next year. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for the NFC Championship.